another win for Aston Villa, 2-1 it would finish. That is 10 wins in a row in all competitions for Unai Emery's men, 11 of 12 in the Premier League. This is how things are looking in the table. They stay third. They are back to within 3 points of Arsenal at the top of the table. Manchester United will spend Christmas in 7th and miss the chance to move above Liverpool in 5th by not taking anything away from this clash. Let's bring in Ian Dark. Frank LeBoff is with us as well. We have to start by talking about Villa and just what they're doing right now and what Morgan Rogers is doing too, Craig.
Yeah, well, Villa didn't play well today. And, you know, they have that in them now and again, but they ground a result out. United were the better side. United pressed. But Villa found a way. Their passing was a little disjointed. They were a little hurried. And maybe that was down to United, who probably had one of their better performances in defeat with a lot of injuries and suspensions to Casemiro. But Villa ground this one out. And when you have a player with the capabilities of Morgan Rogers from Euro Club.
Yes, half a season.
At Middlesbrough, half a season up there. He's a strong runner with the ball. He's physical. He's really adding that end product. Great goals, goal scoring to his game. He's such a big threat. He's so difficult to sort of knock off the ball. He can play in several positions. And the 2 goals he scored, I mean, there was nothing in the game, really. When Villa scored that first goal, they hadn't really created anything. United had played the better football with Fernandes and Mason Mount and Luke Shaw stepping out and Mateus Cunha and Sesko's runs. They were playing the more controlled football, and then all of a sudden, bang, that goal goes in. And that's what he is. He's a special player. And listen, all things being equal, he will be in North America. There's no doubt about that. Will he be in the starting lineup for England? I think, you know, there's a big debate about who, because they have so many players. But he keeps doing what he's doing. You know, Villa are going to continue probably with their form. If he continues, it's a bit like Haaland, isn't it? It's a bit like Haaland, and it's a bit like 1 or 2 Arsenal players. If they lost those players, how would they cope? And he's such a big player for Villa that if something was to happen to him, he is so instrumental. How would they cope? I mean, I know they have Daniel Malen, they have Bundia to come in, but they're different type of players. And what he's doing for Unai Emery is just absolutely magnificent. I just love to see a young man with that talent showcasing it in the Premier League, and he's doing that with some aplomb.
Yes, to Craig's point, Ian, he is a game changer and he is going to give Thomas Tuchel a lot to think about next summer.
Yeah, and he's very high in Thomas Tuchel's pecking order. Some would say ahead of Jude Bellingham, the way things are. Yeah, he is. He's a difference maker. Those are 2 world-class finishes. And so excited was Unai Emery that somebody's going to have to buy him a new coat for Christmas, I think. Flinging that in the air on that second goal. They were both beautiful goals. I mean, Craig's right. Villa weren't that good today, but when you've got a player like that who can produce something special, you can get 3 points even on a relatively bad day. Decent performance by Manchester United. I wouldn't argue with Ruben Amorim, who said after the game, I think we were the better team. We got nothing from it. We'll move on from that. But of course now, from Manchester United's point of view, they're going to lose Bruno Fernandes for, well, he said a few games. They're going to have to scan the injury, see how bad it is, but it didn't look great.
No, it didn't, and we're seeing afterwards that he said it's soft tissue damage and he'll be sidelined, as Ian said, for some games. I think it's going to be a while, said Ruben Amorim. That's a blow, isn't it, Frank, for Manchester United?
It is. Even if I, like the guys, think that Manchester United did well, and even in the second half without Bruno Fernandes, they coped with the situation. I think they were better than Aston Villa and deserve a better result. And that is very sad for Bruno Fernandes, but it's very sad for Manchester United because, well, you had a competition between 2 guys, Cunha and Morgan Rogers, and Cunha had, I think, 3 or 4 chances to score and scored only 1. When Morgan Rogers had 3 and scored 2. But that's going to be a blow for Manchester United without Bruno Fernandes in the middle of the park. I don't think that Lisandro Martinez can be the guy which can change something like Bruno Fernandes is capable of doing. But Manchester United is the better way in the way of how they play today. So they have to keep that in mind and make sure that they're going to get results the next week.
When you get a gem of a manager, you have to harness it and hang on to him, don't you? And Unai Emery's been around the block. I mean, he managed Arsenal, managed PSG. I think it was Sevilla, Villarreal. He was very successful in the Europa League. What he's done at Aston Villa is incredible. You know, I think he's the second manager Since 1905, I saw a stat today, only the second ever manager to have a two-time 10-game unbeaten run at Aston Villa. It was quite incredible. And you think about it, they didn't score in the first 4 goals of the season, first games of the season. They started when they started the season, I thought, oh, this Villa train is running out of steam. Mid-table, all the European football lately, players have stopped listening to Unai Emery, things are going to change. Because it was so flat at the start of the season, I don't think anybody saw this run of results coming. But when you have a manager with his experience, with his drive, with his knowledge of the game and an understanding of what he wants, and everybody's on board, this is what you get. And when you're a club like Aston Villa, you have to hang on to that, even through the bad times. You can't be making knee-jerk decisions because he is such a top-quality coach. And you look at where Villa have been in recent years, sometimes up and down at the Championship and struggling in the Premier League and little moments here and there. What he's doing at this football club is absolutely top drawer. As good as anybody else is doing in the Premier League with more. Arteta's doing it with a bigger budget. Guardiola's done it with better players. Klopp did it with, better players to a sense in Arne Slot. Now, he's not won a Premier League, but he's in the hunt at the moment. And he is dragging every ounce out of this Villa squad. When it's, I can't say too much about it. What he's doing, you really have to tip your cap to what Unai Emery is doing at Aston Villa.
I totally agree with Craig, and especially knowing that he didn't change a team. He kept the players, he kept the tactic, he only worked on the mentality of the players. And on top of it, today, I thought they were 10 against 11. They have a passenger at front. Ollie Watkins is nowhere near it, the player that he used to be, and we don't see him, getting any confidence back. He will have to work on that also because you need a striker. Yeah, Morgan Rogers can do the job and some others as well. In the middle of the park, Aston Villa are absolutely efficient and wonderful, but you have to do better with Watkins. And that's the biggest task that Unai Emery has to work on with Aston Villa right now.
I mean, just quickly, I'm not suggesting other managers are not intensely prepared, but I get the feeling he's as prepared.
He lives, sleeps and breathes it.
Yeah, and I read something, I don't know who it was, it might have been a commentator, probably was a commentator that said it, or I read it, one of the two. When he went into Aston Villa, amongst all the other players, he said to John McGinn, on the first day, I've seen your last 10 games and you've not been very good. He said, fortunately for you, I saw your previous 10 games before that and you were brilliant, so I know what you're all about. So he pretty much watched that whole squad. And he was able to go into Aston Villa, okay, it'd take a bit of time to turn that around, but he was basically, he could go into Aston Villa and he knew the strengths and weaknesses of everybody from day one. Now, it took a bit of time to get it going, but he didn't walk in blind and go, right, I need to look at him and train, I need to look at him and train. He said to him again, I've watched your last 10 games and that ain't good enough, but I've seen your previous ones, you're not bad, son.
And so to that point, with Morgan Rogers, he actually saw him in an FA Cup game for Middlesbrough against Villa, and he was like, I want that player, and he made it happen.
Was it 10 million or something like that?
I've got actually the exact amount that it was at the time, 15 million. Yeah.
Which is looking like
an absolute bargain.
What would he be? Before we go to Ian, what would that? I mean, at the moment, what age is Morgan Rogers? 20? I'm guessing 22, 23.
23.
23.
Yeah, 23.
He's got 10 years. If it's injury free, he's got 10 years potentially, or maybe a little more. But at your peak, that has to be. When you see what players are going for now, and you see his talent level, you're looking at well over 100 million. So for 15 million, what a bargain.
Yes.
For 15 million, what a bargain.
Yes. That's all this praise for Unai Emery, obviously identifying these players, knowing what's needed of this team and doing what he's doing with Villa, Ian.
Yeah, and of course he split with Monchi, who was the Svengali figure that he had at Sevilla. So I don't know what happened between those two, but it clearly hasn't disrupted Villa's rhythm. Just to add to Craig's point there, another player who played for Unai Emery said that, told the story about how he used to stay up till midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, preparing little videos that would improve players that he'd send them on the phone. And one of the players said, I've had to buy some more popcorn to watch all these movies.
Yeah, well, Frank, I've got to give you your props. I don't know how much you meant it, but you did say Villa are in the title race a little while back.
Oh, no. Did he say that at the start? Did you say that? No.
I know. And it wasn't a while ago. I said it after the Arsenal game, and I say, well, you cannot deny that they are in a race. Now, yeah, they can be the favorite because, when I see how they play, when I see Arsenal playing right now and Manchester City, why don't you want to give a chance to Aston Villa to win the Premier League? It's possible. They have the players. They also have the bench with Bundia and some others coming. So let's see how they go on the next two games. They go away against Chelsea and they go away against Arsenal. If they get some results, you will take me seriously, Mr. Craig Burley.
Are they in it?
I always take you seriously, but, we always have a pretense that Frank said this at the start of the season.
What a story it would be, though. Unai Emery, obviously having been at Arsenal and then doing this with Villa.
I want them to be in the title race because I want as many teams as possible. A title race gets a bit dull and boring, but sometimes when there's two teams. Check Scottish football out for that. 40 years since another team outside the old firm have won the league. We've seen Leicester in the Premier League, which was an amazing story. We'll probably never see it again. Certainly not in England. But there's a big question. I just have this nagging doubt whether they can stay in it. When I saw some of the performance today and the misses from Cunha and others, and Sesko, and I know that can happen. When I saw the performance at Liverpool, when Liverpool were really, really struggling, Villa went up there and had a bad day and got beat. So they have that in them. Whether they can brush these days off with Morgan Rogers' special goals and go on and keep going, I don't know. I have this just little nagging doubt in my mind that there'll be just too many games where the squad's stretched a little thin and they'll just drop off the pace. I hope I'm wrong because I love, as I say, you probably gather this, I just love what he's doing at the football club, particularly without, Victor Lindelof playing today. Pau Torres was out. Lindelof comes in. He was discarded at Man United, even when he was there at the end. He couldn't get a game. Maatsen at left back. Digne's on the bench. Matty Cash, in and out the side for periods, but back in this season. So he hasn't gone out and, bought a 75 million, 60 million, a 90 million. He hasn't gone out and done that. He's worked on it, as Frank said. He's worked on the training field. He's improved. And we always say this. What has a manager done when he goes into a club? Has he just gone in, has he opened the chequebook and spent, or has he improved what is there? And whilst they've brought players in, he has improved what is there. There's no doubt about that.
Are they in the race for you, Ian?
Well, the maths say that they are. They're only 3 points off the top. Do I think they'll win it? No, but you've got to remember, we're talking about Aston Villa, and Craig mentioned Leicester there. Aston Villa aren't Leicester. They're bigger than that. This is a club that's won the European Cup, won titles, FA Cups, and they've got enough good players, I think, to sustain the challenge. I mean, I think the main thing for them, they'd settle for getting back into the Champions League, and since they're now 7 points clear of Chelsea, I think they're a pretty good bet to do that, don't you?
So where are we at with Manchester United before we wrap things up on this game?
I can see minute improvements in performance, and bearing in mind what they had available today. No Maguire, no De Ligt, no Casemiro, no Ahmed, no Mbuemo, and one or two others. Lost Fernandes basically before half-time when he was injured, and still managed to go to the informed team in the Premier League and outplay them for long periods. Now, they were wasteful in front of goal, and defensively, they, with this group of players, they look a bit weak. But I think they've improved the goalkeeping situation for now. I think they're more on board with what the manager wants. So they are looking better. There is no doubt about that. Now, where the end game is going to be, I don't know. I just don't know, because you have to take these performances and turn it into points. But I certainly think they look more combative and more competitive than they were, say, a month ago. And that's a positive for them.
The reports are coming through that Alexander Isak, the fears are it is a broken leg that he sustained against Tottenham. The lower leg is the report that we're seeing here in The Athletic as it stands right now. Looking
at that challenge, you see that challenge probably half a dozen times a game, maybe more. And so this is really, really unfortunate. I feel sorry for the player. Fortunately for Liverpool, they did go out and buy, two strikers. So they have got cover there. But in terms of, you're looking at it from a personal point of view, if you're a player and you're trying to get some momentum going at your new club under pressure, you get a goal, which is great. The second goal for the club. The other one was at West Ham. And then possibly a broken leg, which I don't know how bad or how long that will leave him out for. So yeah, a real, but part of the game, unfortunately, but a real shocker for the young man.
Frank?
Yeah, you know what? First, I'm sad for Isak. I mean, he had a very bad beginning with Liverpool, and now you have that injury. But I'm sorry, and I love the way Mickey van der Ven is behaving and the way he plays football, and I love the player, but he has to be punished. I'm sorry. You cannot get out of that when you broke the leg of somebody. You take a chance, you're a defender, and I was a defender, I never injured any player. You can tackle, you can be hard, but you have to know and be in control of what you do. And I'm sorry, in that matter, and the result says a lot, Van der Ven wasn't in control. And for me, that's maybe unfortunate, but something has to come out. It cannot be, again, released with nothing after that tackle.
Well, I mean, come on, Frank. I mean, he wasn't even yellow carded, I don't believe, rightly or wrongly. But come on, Frank, you would have made the same challenge. You're in a desperate situation as a player. There's a goal-scoring opportunity. You know, I just think we band about the word reckless too many times these days, or endangering an opponent. And I don't want to see players being injured, but you almost endanger opponent with every challenge, because you just mistime it by a millisecond, and that player gets there before you, and you could cause some damage. I mean, I think we would sanitise the game. When I see a bad challenge,
oh, wow.
no, but when I see a bad challenge and it's over the top and it's two-footed and the studs are up, and you know, for example, the Xavi Simons challenge looked a lot worse. I just think it's very unfortunate. Of course it is. I've played in games where players have broken their legs with a lot worse challenges than that. But where do you stop as a defender? I mean, Thomas Frank is under pressure. What does Mickey van der Ven do, Frank? Does he not make an attempt to try and block the shot?
No. I hear you, Greg. It's just the result. You know, like Pickford against Van Dijk. You know, I mean, the guy almost broke his leg. Well, he broke his leg at some point, and he got nothing out of it. I mean, you can try. I agree with you. That's unfortunate. I never said anything else. But that's the result. You punish the result. If somebody has a broken leg, it's because you did something wrong. I mean, we can all agree to that. And yeah, you are in the instant. You go for it. You try to save. You are in emergency. Okay, no problem. I did that a lot. Nothing happened to my opponent. I just say it's the result that you have to punish. The guy has a broken leg. Maybe his career will be over because he won't be the same player. You broke a leg. That's the only thing I say. I have nothing against Van der Ven again. I'm saying he's a great player, but he made a bad challenge, a bad tackle, and that's the result I want to punish. That's the only thing I want to punish.
We're going to get to this, but we saw a challenge in the game Ian was doing today that resulted in a red card through the back of Lamine Yamal that had absolutely no intent to play the ball. That was more to injure an opponent, to stop an opponent, to send a message. Those ones are the ones where I'm like, right, red card, get him off. The other one, I think, it's just my opinion, it's a footballing incident with a really bad outcome, but it's not. To me, it wasn't malicious. It was merely a defender trying to do his job, and unfortunately for Alexander Isak, he has a bad injury. Yeah,
and regardless of how you see the challenge, Ian, it has been a tough start to life at Liverpool for Isak.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the move is kind of jinxed. It was preceded by all the business with Newcastle, which wasn't to everybody's taste, with Isak virtually being on strike. Then he arrived at Liverpool injured. It took a long time to get him up to match sharpness. When he has come in, he's been pretty anonymous. He scores that great goal yesterday, and ironically, in that incident, he appears to have broken his legs, if tonight's reports are right. I mean, I think as to the I'm really interested in Frank's view of that, because Frank's a top defender and he knows about challenges made by defenders in that sort of situation. So I bow to his judgment, but I have to say he's the first person I've heard talking about that incident who thought that there should have been some kind of card or punishment for Van de Ven. It looked to me, and I didn't play the game at the top level, I just talk about it. It looked to me like it was a legitimate challenge. He had to challenge for the ball, and what happened was an unfortunate accident. Very unfortunate, it turns out, because it looks like Isak won't play again this season.
Just to go back to that, to your sort of thinking, Frank, if I make a challenge on a player that's a good challenge, and later we find out he's torn his anterior cruciate, his ACL, which you see a lot these days, because that can happen very innocuously. Then you can't go back then and say, well, he's out for 9 months now, so I'm going to go back and punish you. There has to be a really reckless, and I'm sure Liverpool fans are probably saying, well, it was because he's got a broken leg, but I just think that it's an occupational hazard. We all put ourselves in there. We all know what can happen, and some challenges are obviously bad, and some, like the Van de Ven one, are not. It just looked like an honest challenge where, as I say, I don't even think he was yellow carded. So I think it's a difficult road to go down, that you then go back and punish a player for a prognosis that comes.
So 2-0, it would finish to Barcelona. Our Gemma Soler was there at the game today. We're going to hear from Hansi Flick because we did catch up with him, but first here's Frankie de Jong.
What was the captain of Barcelona, Frankie de Jong, after a very difficult win? It was difficult to control the game, but you managed to get a very important win.
Yeah, no, very happy with the win. In a difficult against a difficult opponent, especially away. But I think we deserved the win.
And despite being with one more man, you still struggle a little bit. What do you think this happened?
I don't think we struggled that much, actually, to be honest. But of course, it's always difficult. But I don't think we struggled. I think we should have done it a lot better with 11 against 10. That's true. But I don't think we struggled a lot.
I think the most important thing was that we get stability in the defense, and I think we made it really good. And we worked also in the training session on that, and made a lot of videos and show them what we have to improve. And this was, I think, the key. And of course, that players are coming back with a huge quality. It's for us, it's important.
Here's how things are looking in the table. Barcelona sitting at the top of the table, 4 points ahead of Real Madrid as it stands. Hold that thought just a second, because I want to get Hansi Flick on what he said on the defensive stability with you. Is that where you're going to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a lot of time for what Hansi Flick has done at Barcelona. It's brilliant to watch if you're a neutral. But that's the second time I've heard him this season talk about defensive stability. The first time was after they played Celta Vigo away, where they should have been 3 or 4-0 down certainly after 45 minutes. They were not, and they went on to win the game because they got these superstars up front. And he talked about, if we play like that, then we don't have a problem. And I'm thinking, and Stuart Robson was over and he did the game, and we were sat in the studio and going, did he watch that same game? And he's talking about defensive stability today. And I heard Ian and Macca in the commentary having a discussion about, would this last when they go into the Champions League against the elite teams? Can you defend like that? And I think the answer is no. So I don't see how the fact that Villarreal went down to 10 men really helped your cause. The fact that in the first 10 minutes, and certainly the first 15 minutes, there was 3/4 clear opportunities for a team with better skill set in the final third to go and kill you. I don't see how that falls under the defensive stability bracket. It falls under the we were a shambles again and got away with it bracket, certainly in the first half. Now, if we want to talk about Barcelona going forward, brilliant. Love them. Rafinha, Torres, Lamau, Pedri, Fermin Lopez, Lewandowski, Marcus Rashford, Frankie de Jong. I'll talk about them all day and say, oh, by the way, they could be a match for anybody. But at the back, not having it.
So,
not having it.
Ian, you were on the call today. It's a clean sheet for Barcelona, but you just heard what Hansi Flick had to say. Do you see any difference in the defence?
No, not really at all. I think he's pulling the wool over our eyes with that comment. It's hard to understand. I think it says something that probably Barcelona's man of the match today was the goalkeeper, Joan Garcia. Looks a really good signing. He pulled off 3 or 4 really excellent saves. So there is one thing, though, with Barcelona. I mean, Craig's right. They're fantastic to watch. There's something happening every second, it seems, in the games. They're going to score a hatful. But even if they let in 3, they're probably going to score 4 and win. But, of course, last season, when push came to shove in the Champions League, they were in a really high-scoring affair, brilliant barnstormer of a game against Inter, but they lost it because Inter got one more than them.
I suppose one of the things he has got, Ian, in his back four, he's got some stability in team selection because he's settled, obviously, Koundé and Balde. Cubarsí was in and out, but obviously had Martinez as a partner last year. But he's settled at the moment on Gerard Martin and Cubarsí, which is, you know, at least he's had a settled back four in terms of personnel, because it seemed for the first 3 months of the season it was a different back four every game, but they're still giving up the same amount of chances. And Gerard Martin at the top level, I think eventually is going to struggle in there and get caught.
Yeah, you'd worry about that. You would, Craig, I think. I mean, they do miss Inigo Martinez, who they had last season as a kind of linchpin and the older head in the middle of that defence. You don't see that older head there now, unless it's Koundé. So it kind of does have a flimsy look about it. They've tried to just stiffen the midfield ahead by putting Eric Garcia in there, who Flick likes a lot and always seems to find a game for. I think he's played more than any other player in the league this season. But I don't know if that's the answer too, because Villarreal were creating a lot, and with better finishing and without the red card, it's maybe a different game today.
You know, I've said this to you before. You know what I'm going to say. Stuart Robson disagrees with me.
Garcia.
I think Eric Garcia has been one of their most important players. Centre-half, right back, midfield. Not fashionable, but important. Not headlines, but job. Just doing a job. Go and play, son. And without players like him, probably wouldn't be where they are. You know, you're not given a platform for Lamine Yamal and Ferran Torres. So kudos to Eric Garcia. You know, because every Barcelona fans will be watching this and what the hell is Burley talking about? Eric Garcia. But let me tell you, wherever he's played, he has done a job. And you need players like that in your squad.
Yeah.
You need players like that in your squad.
Yeah, and things are going better in Barcelona than they are at Real Madrid right now. This has been some of the reaction from the Spanish press. Marca saying with victory with whistles, victory between whistles. And Diario AS saying a lot of goals, obviously referring to Kylian Mbappe equaling that calendar year record of Cristiano Ronaldo, but a lot of whistles. Now, this is Vinny Jr. today on Instagram, just a ... caption. And he changed his profile picture from him in a Real Madrid top to him in a Brazil top. Now, there were boos or whistles when he came off, when he was subbed off. Xabi Alonso was asked about that after the game.
La afición, por supuesto que es soberana y es libre de expresar su opinión. Hoy ha sido un partido, como he dicho antes, complicado por cómo llegábamos y evidentemente hay cosas que podemos mejorar y lo entendemos. Pero yo también valoro el momento del equipo, en lo que están todos los partidos y con tantas bajas, mucho que están teniendo que repetir. Y ahora pues vamos a usar el tiempo para un poco descansar y empezar el año con buena fuerza.
It feels as though this situation, Ian, isn't going away. This whole Vinny Jr., Xabi Alonso, fans whistling.
Yeah, it's a strange situation. I mean, we're used to seeing Vinicius being treated as the pantomime villain away from home, but this was a home match. And of course, you go back and there was the tantrum when he was substituted in the Clásico earlier on in the season. Not much came of that. They kind of tried to sweep that under the carpet, but you know, the fans are having their say on the matter, and you just wonder where this is all leading with Vinicius. I mean, that's interesting. He's changed that picture to one in a Brazil shirt, not a Real shirt. Is he starting to think he doesn't fit at Real Madrid anymore? And will there be some kind of summer scramble for his signature? Who knows?
He is a bit of a baby, isn't he? But I think he's thinking, do you know what? If I just hang around here long enough, I can get the fans back on my side, because he's not going to be here much longer, Xabi Alonso. And I know there was a little handshake when he came off, but they've got previous. And they were rotten again yesterday. Real Madrid, they won the game. They're 4 points behind. It's a head scratcher. 4 points behind. They're still in the title race. There's a winter break. There's a Super Copa. But they're a bad team to watch. They get outplayed by Sevilla with 10 men. But for Kylian Mbappe, they would be a country mile behind. And the football they're playing, or not playing, is just... And I think that's why the crowd are the way they are. They're not just... They're getting upset with the players. They're getting upset with the manager. They're getting upset with what they're seeing on the field. They're not seeing any progress. And Vinicius Junior's not playing well. I mean, thankfully for them, Mbappe's playing great. Bellingham's getting back in a bit of form, and they're getting some more experienced defenders back slowly. But my God, the football that they are playing is just... It's hard to describe. I said it yesterday when we did the game, Dan and I. There's no pattern to the play. There's no pace to the play. There's no intensity in the game. It's off the cuff. They're getting outplayed. And Maka said it the other week in the Girona game. Girona, and these words, remember, they resonated with me. Girona like to play, and Real Madrid will let you. Real Madrid shouldn't be letting these teams play. Girona, for example, Atleti beat them 3-0 today. Girona are in the bottom three. Real Madrid shouldn't be allowing these teams to play. Struggling teams. Elche, Alaves, Rayo Vallecano, they're decent, but they should be smothering these teams. They should be outworking them, outfighting them, and then they can outplay them with their skill. They don't. They set off them. They're sort of lazy in their approach, and it's completely against what I thought Xabi Alonso was going to do. My summary of it is he's come in, he's tried to make a leopard change at spots with a lot of these players, and he's not been able to do it. And he's thought to himself, do you know what? They won't run for me because they didn't run for Ancelotti. They're not going to press for me. So I'm going to have to revert back to what suits them. And hopefully they're going to get a tune for me. And when that recipe is put together, a manager who wants to do something different but is having to kowtow to players, which is how it looks to me, there's no longevity for that manager. And that's how it is at the moment for Xabi Alonso.
Ian?
I think it'll all come to a head in the Super Cup, because you've got Real Madrid playing Atletico, and then probably Barcelona in the final.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Okay, David Moyes not happy with the referee in Everton's clash with Arsenal, and this was on the possible penalty that they weren't given. He said, I'd probably be fined in some ways. I think they're saying it's insignificant contact, and it might have been. It may well have been. They come up with new words for every decision, don't they? Frank Leboeuf is back with us. Ian Dark still with us. And Frank, you usually do love a controversial penalty call or no call. So what did you make of this one?
Well, for me, it's a definite penalty. I mean, the guy kicks the opponent, and therefore, you're not allowed to do that. So it's a clear penalty for me. Saliba kicks Barry's back foot, and therefore. It's a foul. That's clear. That's obvious. And I don't know how it cannot be a penalty.
So I know what Craig had to say about this yesterday, and Stevie. What do you say about it, Ian?
There's two players going for the ball, and it's kind of accidental, but that doesn't matter. I think I'm with Frank on this. It's a modern penalty. Kind of soft, well, very soft. But in today's parlance and the way things are being interpreted, I was expecting, when VAR looked at it, that they'd give the penalty.
Yeah, we sat watching it, and Don Hutchinson was on as well, obviously former Everton player, but that never swayed him one way or the other. It was just a simple. It was just a simple. No, I mean that. It was just a simple decision. We all sat there. It was Dan, Stevie, and myself. Don was back in London, and when we saw that first replay, we went, right, he's going to give it. No, I understand the referee. Maybe didn't spot it. That's fine. That's why we have this technology, whether you like it or not. But once the VAR official, whoever it was, is looking at that and doesn't... I mean, at the worst case scenario, the on-field referee should have been sent to the monitor. That is the... Now, that is the bare minimum. For him to sit in Stockley Park in London and say, nothing to say here. It's just a shocker. I mean, I understand David Moyes. Look, it's Arsenal. It's a title race. Arsenal fans would be, because Arsenal fans are as bad as the rest of them, really. You know, they're fickle. You know, when they see something that goes their way, they're happy. When they see something that goes against them, everybody's against them. You know, they're all the same up there. You know, they can't stand any of them. And this was a decision that has gone Arsenal's way big time yesterday. Yeah, they missed some chances. They were the better team. Of course, they're the better team. The best team in England at the moment. Maybe not playing the best, but they're the best team in England. The league table will tell you that. They had chances, and Trossard hit the post, and should have scored, and blah, blah, blah. And it's Everton. But it doesn't matter. It's a penalty kick. And Howard Webb's having a shocker. And he was in America, Howard Webb, a few weeks ago, and he heard this show. Julian Rons was on him. We battered him, and he watched it, and he wasn't happy. He had the show, and he watched it, and he was getting a shellacking. And his referees, he's getting one again. Because this isn't the only decision at the weekend. And he's got a problem with these referees. And that's a big problem, what we saw in that game yesterday. That a referee has looked at that and thought, I don't need to send the referee to the monitor.
Yeah.
A complete shocker.
As you said, it wasn't the only one. Eddie Howe believes that his side were also denied a clear penalty in their game against Chelsea. It finished 2-2. It was Chelsea defender Trevor Chalobah barging into Anthony Gordon in the box. Here's what Eddie Howe had to say about it.
That's a blatant free kick. When it went to VAR, and of course they check everything, and I thought this is going to be overturned. It's a clear error, because that's a clearer penalty as I've seen. I think the defender only focuses on Ant. They've said it's shielding, but I don't agree with that analysis. So really disappointed that wasn't given.
But it's not just the barge in the back, which I think was some people might say shoulder. It was behind the shoulder. But if you watch closely, the right leg steps across his thigh, and he cleans them out with that as well. So we were unanimous yesterday again that we thought this should have been a penalty kick, and it went against Newcastle.
I wonder if we're unanimous today. Where does Frank Leboeuf stand on this?
Well, Frank Leboeuf feels very uncomfortable because he played for Chelsea, so he would love to find some excuses.
A little bit over-aggressive, I think.
Also, could be that. Yeah, there were a few moments that we've got to talk about from the weekend that was, and something else.
Oh, no, you're not going to ask Ian about that?
Okay, Ian, tell me what you think of it.
I'll keep it short. 100% a penalty. He's just wiped him out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe they didn't give that.
Okay.
Howard, come to America again, watch the show.
Come join us.
You're not in England now, Howard. Not everybody's soft soaping you in these programmes. Let's get Howard on to PLP or whoever it is, and we'll say, oh, Howard, what's happening here? Come on this show.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Craig's here in the studio. We've got Frank and Ian Darke joining us as well. First question is for Craig. Has there ever been a team with as wide a gap between how good they are at both ends of the pitch as Barcelona?
That's a good... Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a very good question, that. You look at teams with good balance. Well, I say that. I think back to Newcastle of the... Is it around the mid-90s, just beyond... Ian would know better than me. Maybe 96, 95, 96, 97, when Kevin Keegan was in charge. Maybe a little later. And it was like, if you score 3, we'll score 4. But memory serves me right, they still had good defensive players. They just played this open style. I don't know. It's chalk and cheese, isn't it?
Ian Darke can probably help us on that Newcastle.
It is chalk and cheese. It is like...
It's the story about that team. Kevin Keegan only believed in attacking, so that's exactly how they went about things. They were great entertainers, and he hired Mark Lawrence, his old mate from Liverpool days, to come and be the defensive coach to sort them out. And Loro told me the story, and he said, I never did I kept asking him, shall I put on a defensive session for the defenders today? Kevin said, nah, wait. He never did. they just attacked. I mean, they're great to watch.
There you go, you remember rightly then.
Oh, yeah, I just couldn't remember the exact time. I played against him, I just couldn't remember the time frame up front. Les Ferdinand. Ferdinand and Esprilla. And Rob Lee, who I played with at Derby for a short period, a terrific player, Ginola. I mean, it was great, and it looked like they were going to win the title, and then United just ground them down, and
Yes.
That infamous
I would love it.
Kevin Keegan
Yeah,
interview
but
after he got
who
riled.
was in goal? Who was in goal?
Was it Shevchenko or was it
It
Xhaka?
was Shaq, wasn't it?
Shaq, I think.
That was Xhaka.
Yeah, it was Shaq.
No?
That's why we love bringing
That
it
was
up,
Xhaka.
isn't it?
That was Xhaka.
I think it was Xhaka.
That's
Yeah,
what they want.
it
That's
was.
why we.
It was.
Well, you'd ask Shaq and
You
he'd
have the
say,
reason why.
He'd probably say, I don't know.
No, that's why there's always the banter about when you throw away a lead, and Shaka has to answer it from those
And it
times.
wasn't really his fault, was it? I mean, the big man wasn't getting a lot of protection in the end.
No, well, as we've just heard, definitely not. Okay, this one for you then, Frank. How difficult is it to defend someone like Morgan Rogers 1v1 and not let him get inside and onto his right foot? Do you just allow him to cross the ball with his weaker foot?
Yeah, you try. I mean, you put your body a little bit on the left side to open the door, on your right side to push him to go left, because how he did today, you could feel it, that he would go with his right foot and will sweep the ball after. So you have to avoid that. You know that he's very good at it, and he did it also in the second goal, but that was more accidental. But in the preparation that he had in the first one, yeah, I would say you can try to prevent it. They're so talented that they can squeeze you and find a way to push you on the right side. But yeah, I don't know who was the defender at that time, maybe Euro. But yeah, you have to go a little bit on your left, like you say, okay, you cannot go with your right foot. You can try, but I'm gonna anticipate. That's the only way you can maybe prevent that.
Never mind Morgan Rogers. You want to try it with Ronaldo. Now, Frank, at this point, Frank is going to say, well, I did do that in the World Cup final.
Well, I did do that against Ronaldo, and he did only once, and it worked. I was so fortunate. But yeah, you have to make a choice. I mean, I played against fantastic players, and who are so fast or who are so technical that you have to try something in anticipation. If you just wait and react, you're gonna struggle. So you have to gamble in a way, and I think if Euro would have gambled that time on the right side, yeah, Rogers can go maybe with his left foot and will have maybe an open door to cross the ball with his left foot. But yeah, I think it's better than to see what we have seen.
Morgan Rogers.
Rogers is not one-dimensional, and that's what. And as he gets a little more experienced, and hopefully keeps getting better, you know, you'll start to see that. But he can go either way. Look, I talked about Ronaldo. I was sort of jesting, but you know, in the World Cup when we were playing Brazil, I hope he stays over there because that guy, he could go either way. And Frank and I played with a guy. Well, we played with many guys that could do it, but one guy, you know, Gianfranco Zola. You know, you didn't talk about him coming in on his right foot because if he thought he was coming in on his right, he'd go on his left. If he thought he was going to go on his left, he'd go on his right. And so the great players, and Morgan Rogers has got a way to go, but he's a very, very, very good player. He can go either way. Now, will he be strong on his left foot? Probably not, and that's arguable. But
you were mentioning. Sorry, Craig, you were mentioning Gianfranco. I remember a game that we played against Manchester United, the first game that we played at Stamford Bridge.
And the 6-yard
That was
box.
insane because he was in a... Yeah, exactly. And nobody wanted to attack him. They just wanted to wait. And he was in the 6-yard box and Speichel was like, hey guys, what are you doing? He's going to score. And of course he scored. They didn't want to do anything because they didn't know what to do. That was insane. Well done, Craig.
He made Gary Pallister look a little silly, and Gary was a great defender, obviously. That's my Middlesbrough connection.
Thank you.
So yeah, nobody wanted to. But you know, it's a great story at the moment for Morgan Rogers, and I think
was Gianfranco Zola the best player, Frank, ever to wear a Chelsea shirt? Because a lot of people say so.
Well, I think he was named the best player of the last century. But I think, yeah, in the history of Chelsea, you can say, of course, you can name Peter Osgood and some others, but he had everything. And on top of it, he was a fantastic fellow, working hard for everybody. Yeah, for me, he was the best of the best. Yeah.
Do you mean the best for Chelsea or the best player that ever pulled a jersey on for Chelsea?
Yeah, Yeah, well, the best player who ever played for Chelsea, yeah.
Well,
I mean, obviously talking modern
I
era.
would slightly disagree with that, even though it sort of pains me to say this. But I think you could put up an argument, even though he was past his best, that Ruud Gullit could be the best player ever to.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Because Ruud, you know...
Yeah, but
yeah.
Craig, I hear what you're saying. But, I mean, Jan was saying that the best player playing at his best for Chelsea as well. I think Ruud was at the end of his career, as you mentioned.
Yeah. But I think
Gianfranco was the...
If you know, listen, this is tomorrow's argument as well for the show.
More
debates. We've got debates on decisions now. Who was the best player? We're
for every club.
We're teeing up for this show tomorrow. Gosh, I'll tell you what, I'm coming back as a producer. It's easy, this producing.
And
what about
Glenn
Hoddle?
What about Glenn Hoddle as well?
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but not for Chelsea.
No, but
not
for Chelsea.
Well,
no.
It works the way you're doing it.
If we're doing it the way I'm doing it, and the way Ian was maybe suggesting, it's hard to argue that a guy who was World Footballer of the Year, as Gullit was twice, and played in all these, you know, even though him and I have got a little.
I know. Listen to the high praise. You don't get that too much. No.
I'm not holding a grudge.
Who's a bigger loss, Ian? Bruno Fernandes or Alexander Isak?
Well, I think no question about that at the moment. Bruno Fernandes, who's the linchpin and has been for about 5 seasons for Manchester United. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but he's a big player, so they won't want to lose him for long.
Frank and Craig, did you ever have a teammate who intentionally got themselves suspended for the Boxing Day fixture?
No. Well, it's weird because I don't know if this is true, but back in the day, before Arsene Wenger really put the hammer down on some of the culture at Arsenal, I'm going to say early 90s to mid 90s, there was a few Arsenal players, 1 or 2, that always seemed to miss the Boxing Day / New Year festivities of the football.
Of the football.
And we
didn't miss the festivities.
Yeah, not the festivities, the festivities of football. With a suspension. If you timed it right and got your 5th one or whatever it was, or maybe you needed a little bit of surgery, always good for a bit of a hernia surgery, you're not out too long, you know.
That would be the time. Can you remember?
If you look at you look at Boxing Day 1963 results and put them up again sometime, you'll see that not all the players who played, especially defenders, were particularly sober that day. I think there were 66 goals scored.
Wow.
Well, we used to play. We actually used to play, and Ian, I don't know if you can correct me on this.
Apparently Fulham beat Ipswich 10-1 that day.
Sorry?
Fulham beat Ipswich 10-1 that day, I've just been told.
Yeah.
And then you go right back.
Yeah.
And then lost 4-2 to them 2 days later.
When they sobered up. Ian, I might be wrong here, but I think there was one period at Christmas time we played 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Yes, you and Steve.
That used to happen. I think in the late 50s,
yeah, 26 and 28,
Craig, and even before mine, they used to play Christmas Day, and then you'd have a return fixture on Boxing Day. So they play 25th and 26th.
No.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine that now. Imagine the managers moaning about the schedule.
Yeah. I think
but the thing is, they don't drink. They don't drink anymore nowadays. The players, you know. At the time, you know, the guy didn't see they were playing games. You know, didn't care.
Well, they're not supposed to.
No, they're not. Do you remember anyone doing this, Frank?
No, not that I was told, but no. I just remember once, you know, I think after 3 yellow cards, you were getting suspended, and I think I received one day my 3rd yellow card. And I went to the ref and I say, you think I'm upset? You know, you're crazy. I'm going to have a weekend off. You know, so thank you very much. And he got mad. But it's not what I was thinking, but I wanted to be bad to him.
Ian, are you disappointed that there is only one Boxing Day match on the schedule? And will you be commentating the match?
It's Manchester United Newcastle, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's to do with the complicated television deal. Seems a big shame to me because it's very much part of the English tradition, and everybody loves going out to a match and watching a game on Boxing Day. So that's a bit sad. Having said that, there are lots of games going on in the Football League for everybody to watch.
Yes.
And there's a full schedule, I believe, pretty much on the 27th.
So they can just...
Yeah.
But I mean, I do agree. I mean, it is, look, you know, you can say, oh, the game's changing and times have moved on and TV contracts, but it has been a big tradition for years.
Massive part of the culture, isn't it? I love Boxing
It's part
Day
of the
games.
culture to go and watch games on Boxing Day all over the country. But it seems the money just talks, doesn't it, these days, which is... And I think the fans, they don't like it, but they're aware of that's how it's going.
What are some of your favourite... Go on, Frank.
So, sorry, for us, you know, foreigners, when you don't have that culture, we had like a week off, you know, for the Christmas and New Year's Eve. We just started to train just before New Year's Eve. But when you have to play on January 1st at midday, that's quite a change for us, you know. When you have to say goodbye, say Happy New Year, and you go to bed, that was very strange for me at first, you know. But we are paid for that. We are the players, so that was okay. But at first, it's hard to accept it.
What are some of your favourite Christmas desserts, guys? Ian?
I'm not really...
Ian, you love a dessert, don't you?
Yeah, well, I do I've given way, haven't I, to have a dessert. So I do quite like Christmas pudding, you know, with a bit, especially with brandy butter as a treat.
I can't do a Christmas, but it's the raisins. I can eat most things, the raisins and the pudding, just, no. More of an appetizer kind of guy. Although I must admit, there was a bunch of chocolate in my house today and I was absolutely filling myself before I came in here.
It's dangerous.
It's one of those little ones, like small little...
Yeah, heroes.
I don't know what they were.
Quality streets.
Well, it was dairy milks and some other stuff.
Free adverts going on here.
I know, celebrations. Frank, what's a typical French dessert at Christmas?
It's called concerto, and it's a chocolate with different layers of chocolate. It's a square chocolate, and it's a tradition for Christmas in my house because that's my wife's favorite dessert. So we get that every Christmas, and it's called concerto. Fantastic.
Very nice.
Oh, he's turned Italian there, didn't he?
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much for sending in your questions. There's loads of content coming up this week. We've set them up for 7 days on ESPN FC. Be sure to be with them.
Pundits, producers, doing the lot.